Welcome to Breathe, Move, Rest. Welcome to perhaps sitting in your desk chair or any chair for that matter. This is a sequence that is designed with real life in mind, meaning perhaps this isn't something you do all in 30 minutes, but you can do sprinkled, intermittent throughout your day, focusing on one area of the body, right? But all from perhaps your favorite chair, whether it's a recliner in front of the TV or at work at your desk. Let's start with grounding. Feet plant, hands plant. If your feet don't reach the floor, then bring the floor up, perhaps with a block. Likewise, you could even have 1 foot on a block and 1 foot down lower if that helps to feel at ease in the pelvis. Let's start with breathing. Because I'm working with an imbalance, I'm just going to switch that over to support the other side and check in with breath once again. So if you're fitting this into your day, maybe pause the video and come back in another 30 minutes or an hour, and we'll take this in chunks. Otherwise, if you're here and you've got the time, stay with me. We're going to move, which is my number one tension area when I sit, is my shoulders, my neck, and even my arms. So just starting with some shoulder circles for this movement break. Now I'm feeling a bit extra congestion, so I'm going to actually just shrug, see if I can trick those muscles into relaxing by exaggerating the movement and getting them a little bit more fatigued to the point where they have no choice. Oh yeah, just changes the energy that might get stuck in our tissues. From the simultaneous or the dual rolling of the shoulders, I'm going to alternate one side and then the other. And then bring that down the arm into an elbow circle. Now the spine might start to adjust here as well, whether it's a cat and cow or whether it's a spiral twist. That's okay. We'll do a mini break for the spinal twist here next time, our next break, or in just a few minutes if you're staying with me. Good, let's bring both of those elbows into circles in front, up and over, reverse. The opposite arm in front, and take a few more here. Now, I don't think you can hear it, but I can hear it, is that my shoulders are like Rice Krispies. As I move into this circling, they snap, crackle, and pop. And that's no pain, so it's no big deal for me, but you might hear it and think, oh my goodness, I'm gonna hurt myself. Well, really listen to the pain. The snapping is really just the proximity of this connective tissue close to your ears, in which case we can hear it. All right, the next time that the arms come together, we're going to swivel out the forearms. So you can bring the forearms to rest for support on one another, or bring the elbows to rest on your torso to, again, alleviate the weight of the arms in your shoulders. So I'm just swiveling the forearm bones, and then I'm going to circle the hands above the wrists. And then reverse. Found some uncoordinated movement there, real jerky. And then I'm going to come back to a kind of a combination of figure eight. It's going to swivel the forearms, and roll through the wrists, and then reverse that figure eight. If I need to get back, I can move on. If I've got some extra time, I'm going to just twist and pull down each of my fingers. You might get a knuckle crack, it's okay. Breath is getting a little more sighing, a little more vocalizing. It kind of triggers that parasympathetic nervous system. And I'm easing myself out of the productivity of thinking and working at my desk. And now landing back into this moment in my body, instead of stuck in my thinking brain. Now, catching those four fingers on one hand, you can even catch the thumb as well. Press to stretch down the inside of the forearm and over the palm, and then the other side. Now, again, if you are transitioning, meaning you're taking mini breaks with this video, go ahead and pause, come back to grounding, and just feel the arms and the shoulders. And then let's move in to the spine. And circle the nose. And cervical spine, the 7 vertebrae that help us to move the head. Reverse that circle. Good. Cervical spine 1 holds the skull, so come to neutral, and allows us to tilt. Say yes. 2 and 3 help us to swivel. 3 is kind of like my thumb, and 2 is a bit like a disc that circles above. So turn your head, chin to shoulder, side to side. And then the cervical vertebra 4 through 7. So we've gone 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 through 7 for the tilt. I don't know. Right? And that's kind of a nice life philosophy to me, in the sense that the most things in the world are an I don't know. Few things I can confidently and competently say yes to. And more often than not, meaning maybe twice as often as what I know, I have to say no, right? N-O. So yes, I know is cervical 1. No, thank you is cervical 2 and 3. And I don't know. This metaphor is for the cervical spine 3 through 7. Let's come down. So I'm going to move away from the back of my chair, feet planted, sits bones planted, and move down the spine for cat and cow. Now the neck can be involved in this. if you want to tuck the chin or lift the chin. But primarily we're working the mid and the low portion of the back. The whole body saying yes. And moving to the no for our spine. This would be the spinal twist. So I'm going to reach one hand behind, one hand leverages, and I just take a supported twist to one side, come back through, and twist to the other. Now that I've checked in, I'm going to come back, much like that shrugging of the shoulders. I'm just going to bring a little bit of more rapid range of movement is small, but the pace is a little more rapid. So my arms are just helping me to swing my torso into that twist, warming up those joints of the spine. Great little reset. All right, now let's bring the arms and the spine together for that twist with the sun breath up. As the hands come down, leverage, maybe even crossing the body, holding the back of your chair. Inhale up, exhale. Good, last round here, keeping this to be about a 5-minute break for the spine. We're going to move to our last rotation or our last spinal movement, and that's the lateral. So I'm just going to place my hands on my hips so I can feel the bend at my waist. If you need more support, hold on to your chair. If you're ready for a little more, then you can add the extension of the opposite arm. So as I tilt, the opposite arm might swing up and come down. Somewhere between 6 and a dozen repetitions is generally enough to lubricate and even begin to warm or to melt off any stuckness in the muscle tissues. So the lubrication is for the joints, but as we repeat this movement with the muscles in mind, we want to bring in just a little bit of heat to burn off, to melt off any fascia, any stuckness that our tissues have found from our stillness, our postures, whether it's in sleep or in sitting at our desk. Again, coming back to close, I might scoot back for additional support. Take a round of 5 or so breaths. Notice how the upper body is feeling, the spine, where the support is experienced from behind you, from beneath you, even from within you with that breath. We'll move into our lower body. So once again, I'm going to come to the edge of my chair and stand my feet a little bit farther in front of me so that I can start to sway the thigh bone in that hip socket. Now you can do one side and then the other, or you can alternate. All right. From the thigh rolling, we can take that a little bit deeper for movement into a circle. A little more work here to lift and roll that leg around. Hold on or support. You can even help to lift that leg, right? And you can go in or you could go out, right? So which feels best? Maybe one of each. Right? In the circle and then goes out and around. Take another round or two in each direction. Now we're going to bend and straighten. Now again, I'm going to slide back for more support so that the thigh is fully on my chair. And then just extend and bend, right? Alternate or repeat with the same leg. Now, if you need to keep your foot on the floor, just sit a little closer to the edge, hold on, and slide the foot out and in. The more weight we lift, the more muscles are being built or activated for that contraction. Now, still in that knee, but a little more opening for the hip. I'm going to slide sideways so that my back leg is still on the chair. And then I'm going to slide that free leg back to open up here. Still getting that knee bend, reach through the heel, but now I'm also opening up that hip flexor, which chair sitting really doesn't help. We want to counter that chair sitting. A little bit of that reach behind. Good, coming through center, right? And over to the second side. Whether your toe is down or your toes are tucked, really depends on the health and the happiness of your feet and where you can find where that stretch wants to open up. Again, another option, right? If I'm feeling more vigorous, I could reach the arm as well, bringing that whole body length into the stretch. All right, let's come back to a comfortable sit and work the ankles. So back to neutral. Maybe you cross one leg over the other. It could be at your ankle or it could be above your knee. Just to circle and roll the foot. And reverse. Now this is a great one that you can do while you're still engaging in email or a phone call, just kind of mindlessly moving the ankle. Now obviously, I prefer to do single task at a time for the meditative benefit of those things, but realistically, sometimes we can sneak these little movements into our actual working day so that we don't have quite stiffness that shows up from just being still the whole time. So I've moved into some flexing and some pointing, rolling in and out through the toes and the ankle. And then a swivel. So I'm pivoting to tilt the ankle up and down. This is often where we have the most accidents and injuries in terms of our ankle bones and the connective tendons. So I just like to warm it up without being weight bearing and make sure I maintain that mobility. And then finishing off with a few circles. Before we leave this crisscross shape, I'm going to take a bow in, resting maybe with a hinge at the hip, so a flat back, and I'm supporting myself. Or you could tuck the belly and take a rounding in that low back if that feels good for you. Either way, we're just going to pause for another 5 breaths. Good. Likewise, we're going to take this into another twist, kind of a counter and cooling. You could leave your leg right where it's at and take that twist, or cross the leg, deepening that stretch. And again, take that rotation for 5 or 6 breaths. Good. Unwind and set it down. Switching to the second side. When you're ready, cross and circle. And reverse. Flex and point. Now the beautiful thing about this footwork is that you can do it with your shoes on, no worries. But you could also go deeper into what we did with the hands as far as twisting and pulling on each of your fingers or each of your toes if you've got some extra time. From the flexing and the pointing, we'll move to the ankle swivel, the tilt. Another great technique is to have a dense ball, like a racquetball or even a tennis ball underneath or in your drawer of your desk. Bring it out and you can roll your feet, again, while you're having that Zoom meeting or while you're texting and emailing, until you can come back to do some mindful movement. Just gives us another sensation, another breaking up of the stuckness that gets into our tissues. Reverse back to the circling when you feel ready. And then we'll take those two final shapes of the bow, the figure 4 bow. That's for the buttocks. And then the twist, that is going to bring it back into the spine, but also the low sacrum, the back side of the pelvis. Nice. When you are ready, transition to your final twist. But as you unwind, we're closing our progressive practice with just a little taste of heat. We're going to rise with a sun breath and then sit back down. So press forward into the feet, lift to the bum, rise up, and then sit right back down. Good. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale down. Out. Anyway that you can find comfort, maybe resting your head on your desk as you scoot the chair away. Or if you've got a chair like me, you can straddle that chair, hold your head, and take again just a few more minutes for integration, for rest, for ease. Good luck, and thanks so much for being here and honoring your self-care with an intentional practice of sprinkling simple movements throughout your day. Namaste.